Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast episode number 20, or Rhif 20 if you're a Welsh speaker like me. My name is Gareth Evans and this is the very thirsty Henry Cooper.
Not that thirsty.
Yeah, you're always commenting how much you're drinking in these podcasts. You're a thirsty boy, Henry. You're a thirsty boy.
I'm what do they call it? A thought. A thirsty hoe over there. That's what they say to the
thirsty thought streamers,
young ladies with their boobs out.
So you've lost your title. You were the undisputed champion of the world, but you lost it this week, right? Is
someone disputing my championhood?
Someone came out of the blue and took. I'm trying to make a parallel with Anthony Joshua because he lost his title, didn't he? It's like I'm not succeeding very well, but
no, this really hasn't worked.
Some Mexican came out and took the title from you, right?
Well, we know what you got to do to those darn Mexicans.
Build a wall. If only the wall was. Damn it. That's what happened. That's why he lost his title. That Mexican was able to get from Mexico into USA and fight him. Anthony Joshua's first ever fight in the USA, and they hadn't built the wall yet. That's what went wrong. It wasn't that he lost the fight. They hadn't built the wall. They were
too worried about all the heroin that's already in the country, and apparently the Mexicans are bringing. So they didn't know that he was going to beat an English sports star in their country. How were they not prepared?
Anyway, this podcast is supposed to be about E3.
No.
E3 2019. It's happening this weekend, and if you're listening to this on YouTube or on any of the streaming services, then it's already started probably, and you've probably missed some of it already. However, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you will get access to this on Friday, 2 days early, so you'll be well freshly prepared for everything that's coming up in the next couple of days, or next week in fact. The conferences happen for the first couple of days. We've got a schedule for you. We're going to go through them all in detail, in order, and tell you what time they're going to be happening and what to expect in each one, as well as some of the speculation around what we expect, what we hope, and our fears and all that sort of dramatic stuff for the conference. So that's usually just for the first few days, and then the next 4 days is like where the conference opens to the public and the show floor, and everyone goes and walks and plays games and stuff, and all the developers chat to people, and that's when we get all the juicy news stories out from behind the scenes interviews and stuff like that. But anyway, it does kick off this year, kind of a pre-3 thing, pre-3 with the EA Play live stream that happens on Saturday and Sunday. Now, this isn't part of E3 officially. This is just EA doing their own thing. Like, we're too good for E3. Yeah. We're too big for E3. We can do our own show, and we're going to do it over 2 days, and we're going to live stream both days. And we kind of covered this last week.
So we can get all the money from it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're big enough, and it's a smart move, to be honest.
They kind of did this. They did it last year. We covered it last week, what's going to be in it. And the main thing is it's happening on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. if you're on Pacific time, it's 12:30 Eastern time, and 5:30 p.m. in the UK. That's on Saturday. This is when Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will get talked about, and we'll probably get new gameplay and stuff.
Yes.
So mark that in your diaries, everybody, and everything else. I mean, if you're interested in Apex Legends or Battlefield 5, EA Sports FIFA, Madden NFL, or Sims 4, that's going to be there during Saturday as well. And you just Google the listings. I'm not going to go through them in too much detail, but EA, remember last year they took 10 minutes to talk and announce Command & Conquer: The Rivals, which was a mobile game, and they had a gameplay kind of demo on stage, and everyone was just sat there bored thinking, what the hell is this? We don't like this game. It's just a mobile game. They're trying to force this down our throats. Boring.
Yeah.
But that's what happened last year, and also the announcement of Jedi Fallen Order from the crowd last year.
Yeah, old what's his face, Vince Zampella, sitting in the crowd being half interviewed.
It's just arse about tit usually, isn't it? The EA Play thing. Yeah. It's very arse about tit. So if you got the patience to sit through it, then all the best to you. I'll just be tuning in for the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm super glad they're doing that right at the beginning, so I don't have to put up with any other fluff.
Yeah.
And then for people who are into the other stuff, they can hit that high note with Jedi Fallen Order or low note. I mean, it could be terrible, but realistically, it's probably going to be quite a sensational trailer. I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then you can coast through the next few things if you like.
Well, there's Apex Legends there, and there's loads of people who play
Oh,
that.
yeah, for sure. And, the EA Sports franchises, both FIFA and NFL, huge things. Kind of weird that Battlefield 5's there. It's just like, oh, we're going to show something. It's probably more features that they were supposed to put in the beginning but didn't.
There you go.
But oh well.
So that is it for the Saturday. And then the next day on the Sunday, June the 9th, is when it really gets kicking off, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft's conference is the first one, as it was last year. And this happens on Sunday, June the 9th, 1 p.m. in the Pacific time, which is the LA, where it's being hosted in LA, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. UK time, Sunday. Mark in your diaries, because I reckon that this, above all else, is going to be the most exciting one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the one.
Because we've got a few things that are pretty much definitely going to be talked about, which is it's like we should rate these on a likelihood scale, right? We should have a scale of likelihood. So I think very, very likely is they're going to announce their new console, which is the Project Scarlet.
Or consoles.
Consoles, yeah, because we're having an all-digital version.
Yep.
Apparently, according to the rumours, there's going to be an all-digital version of the next console, as well as the disc version. So that is, we'll learn about the hardware probably, like we did with the Scorpio before that. So it's Scarlet this time. We'll find out about the hardware, how many terafloppage and all that sort of nonsense.
Just a bunch of technical numbers.
That's it.
I think that's a solid bet.
Yeah, maybe get a release. They might even announce the release date and everything. You never know.
Yeah, my prediction for a while has been the console's announced this year and then release next year.
Yeah, it could happen.
But it could not. I don't know when they would talk about it, if not now, because this just makes perfect sense.
Yeah. PlayStation and Sony have announced the PlayStation 5 unofficially and just kind of offered a few little nuggets of info on that hardware.
Our next console does this, but it might or might not be the PS5.
So yeah, that's almost nailed on. We'll also hear more about Project xCloud, which will be retaliating against today's stream, which of Google Stadia. Because Google are planned today a stream preemptive to this Microsoft announcement. So they're going to be announcing today about the pricing and when it's going to be released and showcasing some of the games. So Project xCloud are going to be, this is their rival competition to the rival thing to Google Stadia. That's going to be there too, for sure, pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, they're probably going to be talking more about the Games Pass, specifically the one that's coming to PC.
Yeah, because that's
I'm really excited for.
That's pretty cool. Great news for Microsoft in terms of like consumer fronts, because they just want it's their best service because it's just great value, and bringing that to more people is such a good thing.
And then Xbox Live on Switch, right?
Yeah, and we don't know if it's going to be like full Xbox Live or just like achievements and friends lists and stuff or what, but. You never know.
Apparently, yeah. There's a huge likelihood for all those things, right? And then the next bit is all the games that they're going to be bringing. Now, he said himself, Big Phil Spencer, that 14 first-party games are being shown at this year's E3. 14 first-party games. That is a lot of games.
And they're just the first-party ones, because there's a bunch of games which they don't own, but they're just being shown at the Microsoft thing.
Yeah, they usually show off a load of games, not just their own. Now, this time they've got too many of their own, and probably got others as too. So anyway, let's go through them. Let's go through the and all the... Because this is really interesting, right? Because they brought up loads of studios recently. What are they working on? So we've kind of listed them all here. So 343 Industries, obviously they're working on Halo Infinite. We're probably likely to see that, high probability.
Probably get a release date too, because I think we've had like one trailer, and it's a bunch of Marines just driving around, and then you see Master Chief's thighs at the end.
The big helmet, and that's it. Just holding his helmet.
It's a crap trailer. But yeah. Next
up, the Coalition. Now, 3 Gears games were announced last year. Gears 5, which is confirmed, is releasing this year sometime. It has to be there. 100%. I would put good money on Gears 5 being at E3.
Probably an official release date again.
Yeah. Gears Pop, which is the mobile version for kids, which looks fun and cute.
Funko Pops with their big old heads.
That'll be there. And Gears Tactics, which we haven't really focused on a lot, but it's the XCOM style strategy, turn-based strategy game that they announced again last year as part of this trio that they announced of Gears games. So that's all. They're all very likely almost nailed on to be there. Next up, Playground Games. Now, these are known for the Forza Horizon series.
Yeah.
And the biggest, worst kept secret in gaming right now, Fable 4. This is almost certainly going to be there now, right?
Yeah.
We've had rumours circulating recently. So a few of the details that were in the rumours: Albion is destroyed by an asteroid. There's no guns in the game. There's time travel in the game, and there's a different planet accessed via a demon door. Now
that all sounds interesting. But the one thing for me that's really confuses me, Playground Games made Forza Horizon. That's open world driving game. It's a racing game.
Yeah.
You turn your hands to the big third person fantasy RPG.
That's right.
Quite a different genre, but I'm interested.
That's it. I mean, Playground Games work on Forza Horizon with Turn 10 Studios, right? And that's another one of Microsoft's first-party developers. Now, Forza Horizon 4 was the most recent Forza Horizon game. That launched on October last year. So Turn 10 Studios have to be working on something else. Probably a new Forza game. Probably too early to be announced or brought to E3. Maybe. We don't know. No. Might be one of the 14. You don't know. But Playground and Turn 10 Studios have been working hand in hand for so long. But Microsoft do own the Fable IP. It makes sense for them to work on it. They probably, I don't know if they had any other studio to be able to bring it. Maybe Playground are working on it with another studio, because that's what these big publishers like to do. They like to get two studios together. We saw it so often recently. Bethesda are notorious for doing that with the game. So maybe not just Playground, maybe some outside help too. That's my theory.
Yeah. I mean, if Fable 4 is happening, there's definitely a fan base for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed Fable 2. I still enjoyed Fable
Iconic
3.
series,
Loads of people really didn't like Fable 3, but I was like, that's still fun. I didn't get into it as much as 2. I mean, when my dog died in Fable 2, I was very distraught. So, of course, I brought him back.
Yeah,
it's the only choice.
Sound like it stays with you today. So let's move on. The next one, In Exile Entertainment. Now, these are known for the Wasteland series. It was where Chris Avellone and a lot of the Obsidian crew cut their teeth making games, or the part of anyway. So Wasteland 3 is the next game. It's pretty much confirmed. Well, it is confirmed because it raised $3 million in 2016 in a crowdfunding campaign. That was before Microsoft bought the studio last year. And this is a party-based role-playing game, like the old style Fallout 1 and 2 style isometric RPG type of thing, which is cool. It's one of the most anticipated games, I would say, of this year. It is supposed to be releasing late 2019, and the FIG crowdfunding page says it will be available in Steam Early Access at some point. So it's probably going to be in early access at the end of this year, so we think. But Wasteland 3 is definitely worth checking out. That is for sure. So next up, Obsidian.
That's going to be a major one, I think.
It will be a big one, Obsidian, because
they're doing, obviously, the Outer Worlds, and Obsidian are one of the ones where they got bought up by Microsoft, and it seemed kind of sudden. They hoovered them up along with a bunch of other small studios, and it was a bit like, oh, well, what does this mean for the Outer Worlds? Does it mean it's going to be exclusive to the Xbox or what? But no, it's still coming out on everything. Yeah,
well, it's published by Private Division, right? So it's a bit of a weird one, but where they've got a different owner now since when they announced and started developing on the game. So, Private Division obviously want the game to do really well, but they don't. They're only publishing now for this game. But yeah, it's not going to be a first-party exclusive because it's going to be on all the platforms. So the Outer Worlds will definitely be there.
I did see someone tweet on Twitter the other day, meaning to Outer Wilds, which is the space exploration
the
indie game. And they responded really nicely. It was just like, thank you for your interest in this game, but this is this is not us.
This is the
I refer you to our friends over here.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Well, I predicted that this game would get a launch in late August. I'm sure that was my prediction, because in my head it's there as late August. I don't think I've heard that from anywhere, right? But they haven't officially announced it so far as my research this morning anyway. But it will definitely be releasing in 2019, according to Obsidian, because they don't have the budget to stretch that out. So that's my big prediction for the release date, if you hadn't heard it already. Next up, The Initiative. Now, this is a newly opened studio in 2018 who was put together by Microsoft, essentially, and not a lot is known about who they are or what they're working on. We're not expecting them to announce any game because it's probably too soon for that. However, and also on their website, they are currently recruiting 12 employees, so they're gearing up for production. It seems like now. It seems very unlikely we'll hear anything from them this year. So, Turn 10, we've kind of discussed them. Undead Labs, which make this State of Decay series, maybe they'll come out with a new game. I mean, they've done State of Decay 2, and that was a year and a half. I can't remember when that was. I didn't make the note.
It wasn't a million years ago. But.
Yeah, I mean, they could have been in pre-production prior to the release of State of Decay 2, so they may well be bringing something else to the floor at E3. Yep. They announced them early these days. Who knows? Compulsion Games, who made We Happy Few, was another team that got bought up by Microsoft. And We Happy Few was last year. We don't know anything that they're working on, so they could be coming out with a sequel. They could be coming out a total new game. We don't know. They could be working with other teams on other things. We don't know, but we haven't heard anything from them, so we're kind of expecting something from them.
So many of these, it's like, we don't know what they're currently working on, so they could be doing anything and could reveal it. They could just not as well. I
think the good thing about this is that Microsoft, when they bought up these companies, part of the contract is that they're giving them these financial support, but they're still free to work on whatever they want to do. Yeah,
they keep in creative control.
Yeah, so they're not going to say, well, you definitely have to go and do this game with this IP and whatever. It's up to them to be creative, which is great. Now, next up I've got on the list here is Mojang, who make Minecraft, who were bought up by Microsoft a few years ago now for a lot of money. And it was recently announced that they're working on some AR thing, which actually looks pretty cool. The Minecraft AR, which is like you use your phone, you point it at something, and it turns into like the Minecraft world. A bit like Pokemon Go, you could say, like a on-the-go kind of game. That could be interesting. We'll probably see more about that.
I mean, I was never really into Minecraft, really, so this doesn't really do anything for me. But I know that the Minecraft whole fan base is enormous, and there's so many. It's basically on everything now. Yeah. It released years ago, and they've just ported it to everything.
Yeah. It's a good game. It's got so many good features, and it's great for kids to be creative and stuff. And it's I can't say enough good things about Minecraft because it's infinitely creative. It's like the Lego of digital space. You can do whatever you want in it, and I think it's awesome. So we'll see more of that for sure. Ninja Theory is the next studio that we're considering here, and they are the creators of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, that critically acclaimed game. Now, there's a rumor which I only just discovered this morning. I hadn't seen this before because I was researching for this. Bleeding Edge is the name of their next game, apparently, because they filed a trademark late last year. And apparently, this game is a sci-fi, story-focused 4-player co-op game with an emphasis on melee combat, made in the Unreal Engine 4. And it's been in development for 6 years by the time it will release early next year. That's totally rumours, obviously. We don't know specifically. There are more details to the rumour that I didn't list here, but apparently they were working on it alongside Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Now Microsoft own them since they've already, halfway through the production of this game, you could say. That will be releasing into Microsoft, and it'd be interesting to see what they come up with in the sci-fi world.
Yeah, sci-fi story-focused emphasis on melee combat. That sounds awesome because Ninja Theory also did the Devil May Cry reboot thing that everyone hated, and now the world is finally coming around. Well, actually, no, it was really fun. And if you just took Devil May Cry off the box, it would be a really bloody good game.
Yeah.
So they're really good at melee combat.
Yeah.
So if they do anything, like that, I'm totally in for it.
Apparently it's a lot faster paced than Senua Sacrifice was, Hellblade was.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one to watch for me. Rare is the next studio. They make the Sea of Thieves, and they've been supporting it since release last year. Also make the Battletoads and a series, and this was a new game in the Battletoads series was announced last year, and we were pretty much nailed on to see more about that this year. Now, I'm not that familiar with Battletoads. I don't really like Sea of Thieves. This is kind of a meh for me.
All I know about Battletoads is that they were created in response to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be like the same thing but owned by someone else, like a cash-in. Other than that, don't really know anything.
Now, the other game that we're likely to see is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, right? And this is by Moon Studios, currently published by Microsoft, not owned by Microsoft. We will likely get a final trailer and a release date for that game for anybody who's interested. And that kind of rounds up all the... There's definitely not 14 first-party games there that I've listed.
Yeah, there's definitely more to come.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be new announcements. I expect at least 3 new first-party game announcements.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Hot prediction from Gaz there. We likely to see more Cyberpunk. We saw the first trailer in like years and years and years last year, when at the very end of the Microsoft showcase, where they're like, oh, we're done. Oh, hang on, we're being hacked.
Yeah,
and the lights dropped down.
That's
and then it was
exactly what I could see them doing here, because I think they have said Cyberpunk is going, and presumably it will be at Microsoft because that's where it was before. And they've said they're going to have a bigger presence at E3 than they did last time, because last time the public got that CG trailer, which was a cool trailer, but then there was the behind the closed doors game 40-minute gameplay thing, which was then released a few months later or whatever. I absolutely think this is them going to be like, that was a bad sentence. I absolutely think they're going to be showing this off right at the end and just say, oh yeah, here we go, bam, big Cyberpunk thing to round everything off, release date, give it to me.
Yeah, do you think it'll be part of the Microsoft conference necessarily?
I think if it's going to be with anyone, it's probably going to be with them.
Yeah.
Because they've worked with them before.
Teamed up with them in the past, and Sony aren't there, and you know, maybe the PC showcase. And Microsoft is the biggest first showcase of the event, and I think that's prime time is where they want to be.
There's a reason they're opening the show. Yeah,
because I mean, there's definitely so much to look forward to there for me, and it's definitely my most anticipated E3, and it's happening at a convenient time for us, 9 p.m. on Sunday. So you know, I'm glad about that. That's for sure. Anyway, later on Sunday is the Bethesda conference. This happens at 5:30 p.m. on the West Coast. That's in LA where it's being hosted. Eastern time, it's 8:30 p.m. if you're in America, or 1:30 a.m. the following morning on Monday morning, 1:30 a.m. or late night Sunday, however you want to say it, 1:30 in the UK. And for everyone else in Europe, that's going to be an all-nighter if you're interested in Bethesda, right?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be more Bethesda publisher than Bethesda developer, because they've already said there's going to be no Elder Scrolls 6 and no Starfield, because they're both way out. And I remember thinking this last E3, that Elder Scrolls 6 trailer was completely pointless. And so was the Starfield one. And loads of people were like, oh my God, Elder Scrolls 6 trailer, it's going to be amazing. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll click that. Clickbaited by the trailer, it did its job. And I was like, well, this is crap. If it's not coming for years, what's the point in telling me? This is a waste of my time, it's a waste of yours.
Well, the point in telling people was to try to avoid the rumours or the leaks, essentially. Because Jason Schreier had leaked just previous to E3 last year that Fallout 76 was an online RPG survival game, where they wanted to announce it. Bethesda wanted to announce it properly at E3 because they hadn't given any details. They did this live stream, build up loads of hype. Oh, it's a new Fallout game, and nobody knew anything about it. Jason Schreier was like, hang on a minute, this is what the game is, and that blew the hype out the water essentially for a load of people. So I think Todd Howard saw his arse and thought, what's the point building up all this hype if they're just going to get leaked by the likes of Jason bloody Schreier? So I think what he wanted to do was, instead of being secretive with his games, just lay it all out on the table and say, these are the games we're working on, so no point trying to fucking leak them because they're here. Even if there might be 7 or 10 or 20 years out, we're still working on them, so fuck you, Jason Schreier, you're not getting clicks off us. I think that was the motivation behind it, I think.
Yeah, I just think the trailer was crap. Give us if you even gave us a name.
Yeah,
and anything recognizable in the trailer, because it's just sweeping landscape shots of just the world. And some people have figured out, it could be this place in Elder Scrolls, like geography and lore and everything. But just give me a name.
It's not even like fleshed out.
It's nothing content.
Yeah, there's nothing in that. It's all very conceptual. Yeah. So making a trailer about a conceptual game at that stage it's far too early. But all the people getting hyped about it was like, just calm down a bit. So what are we expecting? Definitely no Elder Scrolls 6. It's too early for Starfield. I've said that. So what are we expecting?
It's definitely 100% expecting some Doom Eternal stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was announced last E3, I think. E3 18.
It was. Yeah.
And we haven't seen that much. We've seen like a couple trailers and some buzz around it, but it's time for like a big one with like, okay, it's coming out now, so we'll get a release date.
They've been pushing Rage for so long, and id Software have been working with Avalanche on Rage. Is it Avalanche?
Yeah, id Soft and Avalanche on Rage.
Yeah, so
it's time for...
brains getting melted here by all these names. Yeah, so it's time for them to switch promotional
and give id
focus.
The game that Rage kind of should have been, with all the really good shooting and none of the open world nonsense. Give me Doom with you get like a grappling hook thing this time, which looks like great fun.
Yeah,
everything I see about it, I'm like, this is all the Doom I wanted, and just a bunch of cool new stuff to kill people with.
There's a bunch of cool new stuff in this game.
It's exactly the direction the game needs to be going in, and I'm all for it.
So that will be featured heavily, most likely. Rage 2 DLC you've got written here.
Yeah, maybe just because it's one of their bigger games for this year.
Yeah,
and it's out now, so the best logical thing for them to do is to release something new to go in it.
Yeah, it's weird because Bethesda have been I've been pretty quiet in the lead up to this E3 versus last E3, when they were kind of teasing the Rage thing and they were teasing the Fallout thing. It's just been a little bit quiet. All right, Todd Howard's been on a couple of interviews recently.
I think they're trying to play it a bit safer.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them. Next up, Evil Within 3.
Yeah, so I saw that there were rumours that this might be happening because Mr. Shinji Mikami, who is game director or studio head or something like that, tweeted saying that he's got business at E3 or something. So that got people excited that Evil Within 3 is coming.
He's coming.
And I've never played the Evil Within games, but I really like the look of them. I just haven't got round to playing them because they're meant to be like the spiritual successor to the Resident Evil 4 style of Resident Evil, like third-person shooter action, but still super horror-y and really like grotesque. Because he worked on that game, old Shinji Mikami, sorry.
Easy for you to say.
I mean, yeah. And well, the first one was in 2014, the second one was in 2017. So if the next one's in 2020, that's a nice
makes sense to announce it now.
3 year, yeah.
There you go. So we're pretty likely, I'd say about 5 out of 10 likely on that. I don't know.
It could go either way, and I don't think it's going to be that much of an upset if it doesn't.
Yeah, it could be there with a different game.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Wolfenstein Youngblood is pretty much going to be there, and this is the next game in the Wolfenstein series, which is going to be 2-player. You can play it with a buddy, what they call a buddy pass, where if you give someone can download the game without actually buying it, on the condition that you play it with them. If you bought it, they can play it with you while you're playing, and that's it. But they can still play it for free, which is awesome. It's a good feature
really good
coming in that game. So that will definitely be featured. It's been worked on by Machine Games and Arcane Studios. And then you got a question mark over what else Arcane are working on, because they can't just be playing second fiddle working on Wolfenstein with Machine Games. They have to be working on something else. Is it a new Dishonored? Is it a new Prey? Prey 2, Dishonored 3. What do you reckon?
So Prey was one where I think it was well received, right? But it just didn't sell very well. Am I right in thinking that? I think people really liked it.
I think it was critically well received.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it disappointed sales wise.
Yeah. But and I've not played Prey, but I'm well up for another Dishonored. I loved Dishonored 1. Dishonored 2 was cool. Didn't quite grab me as much as the first one, but I liked having a bunch of new powers. Yeah. And just give me more of that. Yeah. Like the ability. It's one of my favorite ways to do a stealth game because you can go through essentially 4 different ways. It could be loud and violent, loud and non-lethal, like stealthy and non-lethal, or stealthy and violent. It's great because it gives you so many options, and then it informs your ending and everything.
Well, people will be really happy to hear if Arcane are working on something. They're a very prestigious studio, that's for sure, and one of Bethesda's biggest assets right now, you would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Or ZeniMax, whoever, because ZeniMax owns everything Bethesda related. And then let's move on to Fallout 76. Now, Todd has been, we just mentioned, doing the rounds with the interviews, and he did promise more exciting content with Fallout 76. I can't wait till you see what the game's turned into now. So VR mode, free to play, maybe. Fallout 76 VR doesn't seem likely because it's online, but free to play is maybe quite likely.
I feel like the damage has been done, to be honest. I don't think going free to play will really benefit them that much, because I think people who are still playing it are playing it because they want it, and I don't think many people are going to jump back in if it's free.
Gotcha.
I think if they want to get people back, they need something like content, not just a free to play mode. They need
to. There's just so much wrong with it, and they need NPCs. They need NPCs and not just robots. They need people to speak to. They need a fleshed out world, a world that is living and breathing. Even though it's a post-apocalyptic, you can still have like a bustling world. Anyway, I think that's the only thing that would get me really excited about it, was to have like proper NPCs that talk to you and not just robots who pretend to be NPCs or whatever. Lazy bastards. Anyway, what would you like to see so far as Bethesda? Well, I don't know. They had a band last year playing like heavy music and stuff. That was, I mean, not that I'd like to see that again, but I mean, that's the kind of what you can expect for them.
Yeah, I'd love for Doom, because the composer Mick Gordon, the soundtrack to that game is awesome. It's proper like heavy metal infused with a bunch of like electronic stuff, and he said in an interview at GDC a couple of years ago how he broke the sound. The core sound is actually like static, like feedback, put through layers and layers of distortion, and it gets this like really dirty, just like whoa, and that's how he wrote everything. And I'd love to just see him perform.
Well, there you go.
An 11-string guitar or whatever.
Will you wait up till 1:30 in the morning for that? Or?
Hell no, I'll watch it the morning after.
So that's it for the Bethesda showcase. Next up, Devolver Digital. Do you want to take this one?
So there's a bunch of games coming from them.
Do you want to announce when?
Yeah, sorry. So that's on the Sunday, again, at 7 p.m. in LA on the West Coast, 10 p.m. on the East Coast, and then 3 a.m. here in the UK on the Monday.
Just after the
past midnight, it'll be on the Monday.
Bethesda.
Yeah, straight after. Now they've got a bunch of games in the pipeline that all look cool because they're a big indie publisher. They take loads of indie games and send them out into the world to blossom. And a lot of them are just marked as 2019, coming out sometime in 2019. So I'm fully expecting to get a bunch of release dates, mainly from them, as well as probably some new stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, one which could show up at another conference, but it might show up here under their own one, is My Friend Pedro, which I really like the look of. That's by Dead Toast Entertainment. It's like a twin-stick, side-scrolling shooter, but with a bunch of like time manipulation mechanics in. It's kind of like,
really good.
What was it we played recently?
Katana.
It's a bit like Katana Zero, a bit like the Hong Kong, a bit like Hong Kong Massacre.
That's right.
With like smashing through walls, slowing down time, shooting everyone, running away, and it's got some like really weird visuals with like bananas and stuff. It's pretty odd.
Yeah, it's pretty odd, but cool. It's creative, and that's what you like to see. Some awesome games.
So one that I've just discovered while looking this up is called EITR. EITR. I'm going to say EITR.
EITR.
that by Enemy Entertainment, and that's like an isometric pixel art RPG, and that looks awesome. It looks like the kind of thing that Game of the Year deciders like love it.
Yeah,
love the look of, kind of like Celeste, where it's very artistic look, but it's super like everything's meaningful and it makes a real statement. It looks really good. I really like the look of it. So the next one up I've got here, because again, none of these have concrete release dates, is Serious Sam 4. Now, I don't really know anything about Serious Sam. I just know the name has been floating around for years. And it's a first-person sci-fi shooter, and when I see it, it just screams Duke Nukem, but good.
Yeah.
Like Duke Nukem, but not really unpleasant and just dated. Old Duke Nukem's great fun, but what was the new one? Forever. Duke Nukem Forever, that was just crap. This looks like what that should have been. There's people without heads running along holding bombs to try and blow him up, and it's mad. So I'm on board for some Serious Sam 4. Looks pretty fun. And there's one here which looks really bizarre, called Gato Roboto, Gato Roboto, and that's by Doink. I'm going to say Doinksoft.
It is Doinksoft, yeah.
Doinksoft. And it's like a robot with a cat driving it, and the cat can like hop out and do stuff, and it's a 2D side-scrolling platforming shooter thing, but it's all in black and white, and it looks really cool.
Gato Roboto.
Yeah, it's got a really interesting art style, and it's a cat and a robot, man.
I mean,
like what more?
Killer combo. If you ask me.
What more do you need in your video games? And the last one I've got written down, because there's a bunch of others that could show up here, is Metal Wolf Chaos, which I hadn't really heard of. Don't really know anything about it, but it's actually a FromSoft game, and it's a third-person mech combat shooting thing, and it's a remake of an old game from like, I want to say 2004, something like that. I feel like I read something. It's probably wrong. And that's a big one that I think there's quite a following for, but I don't know anything about it, so I don't really have anything to say.
Well, Devolver Digital always put on a good show. I think, remember last year they were mocking the whole industry with the whole early access, so early before we've even conceived the idea and stuff, and throwing money at a screen to get more content and stuff. It's always the conference itself is very, very like dramatic, and it's really interesting to watch. I think it's one of the underrated conferences, that's for sure. They are an indie developer. They just don't get the headlines like the rest of them, but it's probably worth watching if you are up at like 3am in the UK, but there you go. So next up is the Upload VR Showcase, which is the first year that's ever been done, like a whole showcase dedicated to VR, and happens on Monday, June the 9th, the very next day now. So they're done on Sunday. June the 10th, 9am in LA. It's 12 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. UK time, so it's conveniently timed for us. Like I said, first ever E3 showcase, and we'll feature over 30 VR games across all platforms probably. So that's all we know about that. I don't really want to go into much detail about that.
I don't really know anything big VR-wise that's coming up. The only one that jumps into my mind is the Iron Man VR, which was announced at a State of Play a couple of months ago, but Sony aren't there, so I don't know if they're gonna.
Maybe they won't be there.
They might just let them show it. Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, probably will. So that's it for the. I mean, it just indicates how big the VR is becoming. It gets its own slot on a showcase on E3. So.
Well, it'll probably be a good opportunity for people to see what's the new one. The Oculus Quest, is that it? It's right. Like an all-in-one VR unit. You don't have to plug it into anything. I think that'll be a good time for them to show it off. There's a big marketing tool, really.
Not sure what to expect with that one, but we'll see how it pans out. Next up, the PC Gaming Show, which happens later on Monday, and that's 10 a.m., just an hour later, on June the 10th. 1 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. UK, very conveniently timed for us again. Now, there's loads of stuff happening here. As always, PC Gamer are the news outlet, and that they host this PC Gaming Show, and they bring all sorts of developers, all sorts of publishers in independent mainly, because otherwise they'd be fitting into other slots on the thing, but usually you get some really good games. Now, I'll just quickly run through. Rebellion are definitely going to be there with Sniper Elite 5, probably. Has to be Sniper Elite 5.
Most likely. Well, they just remastered one of them, didn't they? And they've said, I think they've said that Sniper Elite 5 is coming they're working on it or something. I can't remember.
We can expect the world's first trailer for Evil Genius 2, some new footage of Last Oasis, Tripwire Interactive are going to be there and show us what they're going to be working on with, including Maneater. It's coming, Shark PG, or whatever, there's RPG, Shark RPG, kind of mashed that up and made it kind of interesting, supposedly. Borderlands 3 are going to be there. Gearbox will be taken to the stage to answer players' questions. Don't know if Randy's going to make an appearance. Or...
Now, whoever goes first, if you're out there, please ask, are there microtransactions in it? Because we need to know.
So Randy, is it microtransactions or aren't there microtransactions?
How about a magic trick?
Yeah. How about I disappear? Poof,
poof, I'm gone.
So Paradox Interactive are going to be there, and they're going to be talking about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is another hugely anticipated game. Age of Wonders Planetfall, they're also going to be there talking about too. So Paradox. It's weird that there's these like medium-sized publishers that don't really have their own showcases, but this is where Paradox is going to be. Digital Extremes are going to provide a sneak peek at what going to be coming up in Warframe, the new cooperative space expansion Empyrean, apparently, and Frontier are going to be revealing Planet Zoo. They recently did Planet Coaster or something, right, with a new trailer. Chucklefish will appear to show off an upcoming game that's at its publishing from a fantastic team of indie developers, apparently. So moving on, Fat Shark, for the creators of Vermintide 2, are going to be there. Funcom, the ones who made Conan Exiles and Mutant Year Zero, are going to be there. So we have to see Mutant Year Zero there, I guess, probably because it's a more recent one. Maybe see what they got in store. Modus Games are going to be there, and they're known for Mech City Brawl and Trine 4. Relogic are going to be there, the makers behind Terraria. Annapurna Interactive, makers of The Outer Wilds, which is not to be confused with The Outer Worlds, recent release. What Remains of Edith Finch and Gorogoa. They made that. Raw Fury will be there, the makers behind Sable, Atomic Corps and Bad North. Bad North was a decent looking game. Fellow Traveller, we're going to be there. They made Neocab and Genesis Noir.
You really struggle with that word.
I do. I used to say it fine. Next up, Coffee Stain Studios will be there. They made Satisfactory, Deep Rock Galactic. There's also going to be even more secret stuff from a couple of studios that we can't name, they said. I don't know who that's going to be. However, I want to see more Mountain Blade 2, please. It was announced in 2016, and that's about all we've seen since. Where the hell are you? Mountain Blade 2. Where the hell are you?
There's so many games there. There's so many.
Yeah.
They're all different genres, all different like budgets and sizes and stuff.
Yeah.
So much going on. That's going to be a busy one and lots of interesting stuff.
That's all I want to see in Mountain Blade 2. So there you go. There's a lot to go through. We just skimmed through that. Next up is the limited run presentation. That happens later on the Monday, midday in LA. 3 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. UK. Now, this is a physical indie publisher limited run games who are doing this presentation. It's weird because you've got these like a really small publishers like this, but the likes of Paradox aren't doing anything, and the likes of like Koch Media or anyone aren't doing anything. You know, there's a lot of like notable absentees. They should be if these little ones are doing it anyway. But what to expect? Expect lots of indie games and new releases for the Switch and such like. Then that's about it. That's all we know. Next up is Ubisoft. Do you want to take the Ubisoft one?
Yeah. So that's on Monday, June 10th again. 1 p.m. in LA, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and then 9 p.m. in the UK. So still very watchable for us over here. So the first one that is, I think, all but guaranteed to come is Watch Dogs 3 or Watch Dogs Legion, as some leaks might suggest.
No, they've confirmed that.
Is it 100% confirmed that it's called Watch Dogs Legion? Oh, well, there you go. It's now called Watch Dogs Legion.
It was confirmed on the Twitter account like yesterday or the day before.
I must have missed that.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely coming. We'll get an official look at that. Set in London with playable NPCs is one of the talking points that's kind of buzzing around. I saw some talk that it's going to be in like a post-Brexit Britain, kind of like a lot of political themes and that sort of stuff. I mean, could be interesting.
It says, God save the NPCs reveal at E3, and that was the tweet yesterday. So Confirmed
at E3 and confirmed to be called Legion. So there you go. Next one that we'll probably see as well is Ghost Recon Breakpoint, because we got a trailer for that, but it wasn't anything. It was just like a CG trailer with John Bernthal doing stuff.
Yeah, some info about the new survival mechanics and stuff, and you're out on your own rather than having support of the
and
government.
you can like camouflage and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. That looks interesting for me. I'm definitely keeping my eye out for that one.
Yeah, I mean, that could be cool. And now they've said no Splinter Cell. After one developer tweeted that he was working on it and then said he wasn't.
Out it was a bit of a hoax, a bit of a blag. He was blagging, is what he was doing.
And then Jason Schreier said that if you're expecting to see Splinter Cell, you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
I still think it might show up.
Yeah.
In the same sense that they might do an Elder Scrolls 6 type trailer and it'd be a complete waste of time, and it would just be the goggles coming down with the noise, the meow.
You know, Jason Schreier thinks he knows everything, right? If I was one of these developers or publishers, I would totally fuck with him, right?
Yeah.
Have a source that just provides false info
false
all
leads.
the fucking time, or just like make up these false email addresses with false employees or whatever. I know he tries to corroborate, make sure that they're proper and that, make sure that they're real people when he gets the information. But you know, hopefully that this is one of those times where somebody's just fed him a load of bullshit because they want to fuck with him, and then Splinter Cell shows up and everyone loses their shit. That could happen.
Just send him a bunch of red herrings and do a Splinter Cell with the original voice actor back.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Destroy his reputation.
My Ironside, Michael Ironside, I want to say his name is. He's got a great voice. One that I was expecting to come up, but apparently isn't because they've done a live stream instead, is Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't play the original. I think it's a PS2 game.
Long time ago, right?
Yeah, it's quite old. Like a single-player action-adventure type thing. There's half-human, half-animal creatures knocking about. But the new one's meant to be like this enormous open world where you can travel between planets, full character creation and everything. It's a massively ambitious game. So I don't think it will be out on this generation anyway. But apparently that's not coming to E3, but they did a live stream instead.
They're doing a live stream.
And in a blog post, apparently they said, this year, as we're focusing on... Yeah, we're not coming to E3 this year because we're focusing on core development milestones. So,
focus on your game. Don't focus... I mean, it's... Taking time out to prepare something for E3 is a huge time investment.
Massive undertaking.
So, I mean, to divert all those resources away from the game just to try and promote the game, it can set you back a long time.
Yeah.
And I'd much prefer them just get the fucking games out rather than try and sell us and provide like visuals of the game that might not even make it to the end game anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, and the live stream didn't show anything groundbreaking, didn't show a new trailer or anything. I kind of skimmed through it.
Oh, wait, I thought it was upcoming, but obviously it's already been.
Oh, yeah, it was. I think it was yesterday.
All right.
And it showed off some bits and pieces of concept art, which looked cool. Different characters in different places and stuff, which is cool to see if you're a fan of it, the series and everything. But it's nothing to get crazy excited about if you're really anticipating a new game.
Yeah.
So another one that's possibly going to show up. Oh no, sorry, definitely isn't showing up. I completely misread that. Is Skull and Bones, which has been delayed again. Yeah. Right? How many times has that one been delayed?
No, it was announced a few years ago now, and we're not going to be seeing it again this E3.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the pirate one, which is a game as a service that no one really wants or asked for, but they're still doing it.
They're still doing it.
Oh, well. One that we might see, but I'm kind of mixed on, is the next potential Assassin's Creed, which is the much-rumoured Viking-based one.
Assassin's Creed Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Capitalising on all of that God of War hype.
Yeah.
I won't lie, if they make an Assassin's Creed in Viking setting, I'm interested in that. That could be cool. But I don't know if they will do it, because it is an annual franchise, but they took a year off between, I think it was Syndicate and Origins, and those two games are very different. But then they went back to the annual release to bring out Odyssey, because Origins was 2017, Odyssey was 2018, so they are due one this year if they are doing the annual release thing.
Well, what happens now is Guillemot, the guy, the head of Ubisoft, CEO, he said that he's got independent teams working on them, right? So they're like 3 or 4 year cadences, and if they're ready, they'll bring them. That's it. There's no pressure on them to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened last year with Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Why did they have to both begin with those?
And Assassin's Creed Origins was just the year before, and because Odyssey was ready, it was like the philosophy as well. If it's ready, let's bring it. Let's not wait just because we said there's going to be a year out. So expecting the year out, that's for sure. It's probably not going to come this year. Probably not going to be at E3.
No, I don't. If they were to announce it, that's all it would be. Would be an announcement trailer, and that's it. Because I reckon they're going to knock it to 2020. But there we go. Another one you've got written down here, which I had no idea was a thing, is Massive Entertainment's Avatar game based on James Cameron's movie. I know nothing about this.
It was announced by Ubisoft a long time ago, and apparently it's in motion. The movies, like the 6 sequels to the original. Is it 6? So he's working on a stupid amount, right? He's writing all the scripts for the movies, and he's going to film them all at the same time just to get it all out of the way.
Yeah.
and obviously this game has been commissioned to coincide with whenever those movies come out. So I'm not expecting it to be here or to know anything, but there's a good chance that we do learn more about the Avatar game. I don't know. With them not bringing Splinter Cell, Beyond Good and Evil, Skull and Bones, or Assassin's Creed this year, they've got to fill that with something, right?
Yeah, and it would be a new thing that people can get excited about. Maybe. Although, are people really bothered about Avatar anymore?
I fucking loved Avatar, I did.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
I loved it. It's my first ever movie watching in 3D, and I loved it.
I mean, I love the visuals, but I was like, this is a film I've seen before.
Well, it's like, was it Silence of the Wolves? No, it's
Dances with Wolves. It's every movie about native cultures being ruined by developed cultures. Well, yeah.
There you go.
Far Cry 6 or another Far Cry type thing, I think it's probably unlikely.
It's their cash cow.
But it's exactly,
cash cow, isn't it?
Exactly. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, New Dawn came out really recently, but it makes them a whole lot of money, and they don't.
I would buy Far Cry 6.
Yeah. I'm not trying to undervalue the work that they do, but Far Cry games don't show a lot of innovation, and they seem quite easy to just bounce from one to the next.
Well, they're throwing in these like light RPG mechanics now. they're innovating on their
such
genres.
RPG. Numbers come out when you shoot them now. We're an RPG.
Yeah. And you have to collect resources now. It's an RPG.
Yeah. So yeah, that might happen. It might not. I'm not holding my breath. I'm so mixed on Far Cry, right? I hated Far Cry 2 when everyone else like saying, oh, it's a great game. I really didn't like it. I loved Far Cry 3. And the expansion for that was one of my favourite things in the world, Blood Dragon, because I love it, like neon 80s sci-fi. And it got Michael Biehn playing the guy. It was great. Fancied 4, but didn't like that. Yeah, reviews weren't doing it for me. Saw 5, I was like, I like the look that it's a cult, but no, it just wasn't enough for me to pay for it.
4 was poor, 5 was alive.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 was bad, 5 was good.
I think if they get a cool setting for 6, if it is coming, then I will be up for it.
Yeah, I'll be up for a new Far Cry, popping some heads with a first-person shooter. Why not?
I reckon we'll probably get some Division 2 stuff, some DLC type thing. We may not, but it's such an easy thing for them because it's a game as a service. The whole point of it is that you keep bringing new stuff, so here's the perfect time to be like, hey, here's an expansion. So you've got down about having a real show.
I mean, they always bring a good show, do Ubisoft. There's always is it like Let's Dance, like IP
Just Dance. We'll probably get a Just Dance that will still be available on the Wii.
Yeah. So they're likely to be dancers and singers and like very flamboyant like dresses and like costumes and like pandas and stuff. And I think was it last year before Igamo and Shigeru Miyamoto are doing the old what was that game that they released together, the Mario Kingdom Rabbids Kingdom
Oh,
thing.
the XCOM Mario one.
Yeah, the XCOM rip-off. They were there with their guns shooting each other, and they were like big bros, and they were all having a funny, good time. I always expect a show with Ubisoft. If there's one you're going to let your family watch, or your missus is going to want to watch, it's going to be the Ubisoft one, because it's so fun, colourful, and there's a lot happening. There's music, and it's all quite entertaining like that.
You'll either genuinely enjoy it or have a great time, or you'll just cringe your way through it and be like, wow, these are people getting paid for this. All right, what's up next on the docket?
So next up is the Kind of Funny Showcase, which happens on June the 10th, 4:30 in LA, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and kind of half midnight in the UK. That's like very early hours of Tuesday morning, late night Monday night. Kind of Funny Showcase. I expect to see Greg Miller. Fuck knows what else. Who cares, really? I mean, I just thought I'd mention it because it's on the bill.
It's not a thing I follow, so I have nothing to say.
So next up, Square Enix happens later on Monday, 6 p.m. LA, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and 2 a.m. UK on the very early hours of Tuesday morning or late night Monday. So what we've got at Square Enix?
It's a little frustrating because I'm really interested in this one because of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal's and Marvel Games is Marvel's Avengers thing, because they did the teaser in 2016, I think, which had like Captain America's shield, Thor's hammer, Iron Man gauntlet, and a Hulk smashed open door thing, and nothing else. We haven't even got a real name. We've got they're calling it Marvel's Avengers, but until I see it in a trailer, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I'm really interested in this. They're talking 4-player story-driven narrative co-op. I'm like, that sounds amazing. That sounds like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but we're already getting a Marvel Ultimate Alliance this year, so that's an interesting one. Yeah, a big thing as well is it connected to Spider-Man, which I really hope, because you've done all your legwork with Spider-Man, then you can just bring him in. Like, there you go. Here's for Avengers 2. Here's Spider-Man. Another one, which I'm sure will get a lot of people titillated, is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Finally get some proper information. Maybe, probably not, because it's been in development hell for years.
Yeah,
and they keep changing things, and it's episodic. But I feel like they're not even sure they want to do that, but they keep sticking to it. Mm-hmm. Who knows what's happening with that? They're interested in this new IP that we reported on this week called Outriders, which was teased on Twitter with someone kind of spookily in a cryostasis
chamber. That looks interesting.
Chamber. Yeah,
I mean, it's only a teaser. You never know what the kind of game it's going to be. But
as soon as I hear sci-fi and it's new, I'm like, okay, cool.
Let's do it.
Square Enix, it's going to look pretty.
Could be an isometric, turn-based.
It could be, and then I'll be like, okay, not for me. I'm out. And so then there's a few things, like we could get some Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff, because it's one of their biggest games going right now.
Kingdom Hearts 3.2514, Kingdom Hearts...
square root of pi.
Some more Kingdom Hearts.
Big fan base clamoring for more Kingdom Hearts, so that's certainly likely. Just Cause 4 as well, probably get something for that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily though, but I know in 3, I really wanted to get it, but I never did. You could get a jump pack for your wingsuit, so you could basically perpetually fly, and that looked awesome. So maybe they'll do something like that. One that I think could happen is a new Deus Ex game, because that's made by Eidos Montreal, and they are working in part on the Marvel game. But as I said, that's also Crystal Dynamics and Marvel Games. Whatever. But I doubt they're like developing in any way. But they're helping.
Yeah.
But Eidos are a 500-person strong staff, so I don't think you're going to be using all 500 people on half of another game.
That's true. The Deus Ex is on ice, right? They said they
kind of botched the last one.
Yeah, they didn't complete it.
I really enjoyed the first one, and I didn't play the second one because of all the crap. I just didn't play it. I was like, well, I'm not doing it. It's out for free on PS Plus a while ago, and I've got it in my library, but I'm not playing it.
Yeah. And then the last one I've got here is Next Episode of Life is Strange 2, which isn't a game that I'm really that fussed about. Tried it at EGX last year. Wasn't didn't catch me as much as the first one did. And that's it. We expect the next episode for that if you are interested in that. And that's the end of the Square Enix kind of roundup. It's one of the ones that I don't really anticipate that much because it's not a lot of these games are for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's in this for you, it's for you. But Square Enix has never been really it's for me that much. So I'll probably be missing it. I won't be staying up till 2 a.m. in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to do it. I mean, what I really want is that Marvel game. I want to know because I'm a big nerd, big fat, sweaty, neck-bearded loser. But next up, which will get a lot of people quite happy, is the Nintendo Direct. And they're always just full of stuff.
Yes.
Just overflowing with stuff. Like Animal Crossing will probably get a release date for...
Yeah, let's just... When is this happening first?
Oh, yeah, sorry. See, I'm rushing.
You're so excited. You've rushed ahead.
I mean, I'm not even that fussed about Nintendo Direct, to be honest. So that's on the Tuesday, 11th of June, 9 a.m. in LA, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then 5 p.m. in the UK. So again, super accessible for everyone. Animal Crossing, more than likely get a release date. Probably get like a name for it, because I don't think it's got the subtitle names. This is Animal Crossing on Switch, first like console
proper
version.
one, not the stupid like mobile one that's trying to scheme loads of money off you with all these dubious Leaf tickets or wherever they are. I don't know. Animal Crossing. Everyone loves Animal Crossing. All the Nintendo people love Animal Crossing. I'll take a look at it. I'm not sure it's going to be for me, but
it's not at all for me, to be honest. I have nothing against it.
Is it the friendly aesthetics? Is that what pushes you off?
I like to feel miserable.
Yeah,
like it's far too cheerful.
Oh, me too. I love.
Although the look of some of those villagers, they are pretty terrifying. It's because they're so happy. They're just like dead inside behind the eyes.
Yeah.
Next one will.
I'm highly anticipating this. I really want this one.
Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remake for the Switch with an awesome like claymation art style.
Looks awesome.
And it's old Zelda, isn't it? It's not 3D Zelda. It's 2D
top down.
Like top down. That's the word I was looking for.
And it's gonna give me so much nostalgia to play that, because that was one of the very first SNES games that I ever played. Right, and I just remember that game in fits and spurts, right? But it's going to be one of them that I play it and I'm like, oh man, this takes me back to my youth.
If any time you're playing a remake and you hear like a certain sound effect or a certain bit of music, you're just like, that's it. You've got me back into being like 12 years old or whatever. Pokemon Sword and Shield, it's going to be a big one. New, console Pokemon game, which is quite a big deal. Set in an area inspired by the UK, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have a load of, Carling drinkers throwing up in corners.
Yep.
Luigi's Mansion 3, which I forgot was a thing, but apparently that's happening. I never played Luigi's Mansion. It was one because I owned a GameCube and I loved it, but I could never find Luigi's Mansion anywhere. I could never find it, and I was looking for it, and it's passed me by now. So that's a miss.
Yeah.
Astral Chain, which is the new game by Platinum. And Platinum, if I remember correctly, they do Bayonetta, I think.
Yes.
And they did Vanquish. They did Nier Automata. Which they're all super over the top, action packed, explosions everywhere, particle effects, crazy. And I loved Nier Automata, and I'm not like I wasn't into the franchise as a whole, but I just, from a purely gameplay standpoint, that I looked at that and I was like, that's awesome. Bought it, loved it, and now Astral Chain looks like more of the same. It's got a very anime-esque aesthetic, kind of cel-shaded, but a bit not.
Yeah.
Graphics, and big third-person hack and slash. You send out this like creature that fights with you, and it's like tethered to you, from what I can gather from like trailers and stuff. So that looks like an interesting like gameplay mechanic. You're playing as two entities at once. It just looks cool.
Yeah. And speaking of Platinum games, will we see Bayonetta 3? Don't know.
That's
maybe.
Certainly possible.
That's very possible too. And the last thing I've got here is I want more info on the latest Switch model, the upgrade. I want better hardware. I've said it for ages, but I want them to come out big and say, yeah, we know you're doing the next generation, Microsoft. We don't care. Look at our next Switch. Look how beefy it is. Look how many awesome games, like proper AAA games, you're going to be able to play on this Nintendo Switch, and not like our old version of Nintendo Switch that like starts falling apart and the screen's really like plasticky, and your left like Joy-Con just goes left on its own because you know that's just how we built them so cheaply.
Yeah.
Did I get it off my chest?
Yeah. Nail has been hit on the head.
Yeah, there you go. So that kind of rounds up all of our showcases. All we have left now are our speculation and what isn't part of anything that we've just discussed. Now, first up, Rocksteady will definitely not be showing their new Batman game at E3 this year, right?
Yeah, after Schreier flexed, being like, yeah, I know like 90% of what the game is.
You
like,
don't know.
Yeah, we're not going.
But I know.
So that's a shame, but again, I'm like, don't show it unless you've got something worth showing.
Don't damage the resources. Get on with your game. It's fine.
Whatever game they're doing, there's so many rumors about what they're doing. A new Batman Arkham-esque thing, but it might maybe sequel to Arkham Origins, a Superman thing, a Wonder Woman thing. Might not even be a DC hero superhero thing. They could do anything. They can do what they like.
Yeah. Next up, George R. R. Martin's game with FromSoft. That's a very, very unlikely thing to be there, right?
I feel like this is one where it's just in like negotiations and writing now. They won't have anything worth showing.
Yeah. Another one that is really highly probable in my eyes is the new Harry Potter RPG. Provisionally titled Harry Potter Magic Awakened or Magic Forever. There's a couple of a bit of speculation around what the name's going to be, but there's a strong possibility that that's going to be shown off. Warner Brothers IP. We don't know who's working on it in terms of production studios, but
because all this came from a leak in like October.
It was like a playtester or something.
Yeah, someone screen captured it from a phone of a monitor, and it looked well on the way to being made, like some actual proper stuff. And it wasn't just gameplay, it was a trailer. It was crafted and edited together. It looked really cool. So if they show that off, I'll be in for it.
Yeah, we'll like to see where that gets shown. I mean, I don't know where it's going to fit in, but there you go. Sony State of Play is the next. I know it's not part of E3. Sony said they're not coming to E3. We're not going to see any of them. But will we expect out of the blue, Sony State of Play is happening, don't forget about us?
Yeah, I reckon within the week after, they'll do something. Maybe a State of Play. I think that might be a bit too much that close, but they'll do one quite quickly. Even if they drop Last of Us trailer or Ghost of Tsushima trailer, just to be like, we're still here. Don't forget about us while the Xbox is doing 100,000 teraflops and 58K.
They've had such a strong run of late of the last few years, have Sony. So many awesome first party games that they've brought, and it seems like they're just slowing down a little bit now just to see what Microsoft do with the next generation of console, just so they can feel their way out, and just to see where they need to be in terms of when they release the next console and things like that. I think that they're slowing down a little bit just to take it in a little bit rather than just show it off like they're used to doing. And the last bit of speculation I've got here, Capcom. They haven't slotted into any of these things.
They've been on a run this year.
But they're bound to bring something. What do we think?
Resident Evil 3 remake. If they do that, that's going to be a massive win.
Yeah.
Like, remember the reaction they got when they said they were doing Resident Evil 2? Then that came out and was really good, and they all but confirmed they're doing it.
Yeah.
They were just like, it's up to the fans if we do it. And it's like, okay, do it. Like
they're doing loads of remakes and loads of like reboots and stuff, aren't they, with their Resident Evil franchise? So it would make sense.
I mean,
Resident Evil 8 could even be.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I'd like keep the first-person angle of 7 and do continue the numbered series from the Resident Evil 7 style, and then you can do your remakes in the Resident Evil 2 remake third-person style.
Yeah,
and that engine, it's so good. Yeah. I will play anything in RE engine.
There you go. Dino Crisis reboot is another thing that's pretty unlikely, but because it's a really old IP that they haven't shown for a while, haven't done anything with for a while. That's what some people might want that.
Loads of people talk about it, and I'm like, I don't know anything about it, but dinosaurs are pretty cool.
Dinosaurs are cool, Capcom, for God's sake. Right, and that's
I love a good dinosaur.
I think we've left out so much, but we've also covered absolutely loads. I hope you've appreciated all the research that's gone in.
So many games.
We've obviously gone into a lot more detail with the Microsoft and the Ubisoft and the Bethesdas, and we've had to skim through a few. But what are you expecting? You could be watching this on Sunday thinking, haha, fuck you, you got it wrong. Lol. Look how stupid you guys are. We're just trying our best to make informative, funny content for you guys. And if you don't appreciate that, then
you know where the door is.
Yeah, there's the subscribe button. Just click it once again, doofus.
So, shall we do some Discord questions? Because we got a fair few here.
Let's move on. Discord questions. Now, these questions are submitted by our Patreon patrons, the ones who support us bring our content, without which we could not bring you any content because we wouldn't be able to afford it because the YouTube algorithm sucks and it's punishing us for being too awesome. So if you do want to support the channel and be awesome yourself, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, and for as little as $1 a month you can get early access to this podcast, which is you can all agree that it's well worth that $1, as well as you get access to the Patreon Discord where you can chat with the community as well as get access to the awesome Bad Dad Jokes channel, which is it's worth a few cents that it costs to get access to. And these questions are generated by the Patreon Discord community. So let's jump in with question number 1. Henry, take it away.
This is from Superflea. Or is it Superfly?
Superflea.
Sup, dude? Do you think open world games are going to die out a bit like the zombie genre? MMOs have kind of faded in the later years, but that's because the subscription style system isn't prevalent now. And there's another question after that, so I'll carry on with that one in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I think people are burnt out on them, but people are still buying them.
Yeah.
And I think it myself. I come in waves of open world fatigue. Like if I'm playing 2 separate open world games quite close together, I'm a bit like, okay, no, I don't want this anymore. I'll play something more linear, but then I'll come back. Like before Days Gone came out, I didn't play any open world games. I just played a load of Devil May Cry, very linear level-based game. Then went into Days Gone, I was like, okay, yeah, here we go. I can enjoy it. I'm allowing myself to enjoy it by having a break.
Yeah, I always play open world. I'm not put off by open world games until I'm still not put off by zombie games, and buying Days Gone, that kind of proves that point, right?
The zombie genre,
I love it.
Yeah,
it's great
because
it's real, right? People dying.
It's always satisfying to kill a zombie.
Yeah.
So, that's one that might show up at E3, but it probably won't. Is Dying Light 2? Give me some Dying Light zombie action. Yeah. I'm well up for that.
Dying Light 2.
Great. Okay, so next question from Superflea. Do you think we've beaten the stupidiots, my own word, who think there isn't a market for single-player games anymore?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that whole narrative comes from some of the industry, the biggest names in the industry, who are only looking at like the statistics and analyzing games and where the future of games, like games as a service, is making all the money. Single player games are dead. Like nobody, and like was it Amy Hennig who was like, people aren't finishing our story games. What's the point making a story game? Because if people don't finish them, so let's stop making story games. Let's go. It's just a justification to work on something else. I think there's plenty of people still working on single player games, and there always will be. And I think Sony for one are the ones who are pushing that, keeping that dream alive.
I don't think there's a single actual gamer, not a developer or a publisher, an actual gamer who believes single player games are dead. I don't believe that.
I think it's just a bullshit narrative just to justify people's actions, just like a lot of the other propaganda out there and on the internet these days. So next up, Earthworm Ben. Thank you, by the way, to Superflea for your questions this week. Earthworm Ben asks, do you think digital games are priced fairly by most platforms considering the terms and conditions? In comparison to buying a physical product, even online. This is considering that Australia is now having to take legal action against Sony to try and have them put fair consumer practices in place, such as refunds back to card as opposed to store credit. Do I think digital games are priced fairly? It's weird because digital games are always a little bit more expensive than box copies, aren't they? It's weird.
When a box, you've got to pay for shipping, you've got to manufacture the box and the disc and
Production,
everything physically there. A digital game should be cheaper, but it just isn't, and that kind of bugs me.
Yeah, and the good point here from Earthworm Ben is that a physical, like a digital product on the Sony store, if you buy it and then you refund it, you only get store credit. It's like, come on. What is this, 1980s?
Yeah, right. Good on Australia for having a go at them about it, because they need to sort it out. And they're such a good company for making good games and stuff, but some of the fine print of their user policies and stuff, there's just nonsense.
Well, they are a Eastern company, right? Japan based, and I don't think they've caught up with the consumer practices as much as they have here in the West, but I don't know, maybe they'll get there eventually. But yeah, it's definitely a good point. Digital games should be cheaper than physical games, but then again, if they do that, physical games will probably die out because they're going to keep the stores open.
Yeah,
and shit,
because anytime I'm thinking about buying a game, I've said it before, I prefer physical, but I'm like, it is just so convenient to download it, but it's an extra $5.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, screw it. I'll go and buy it myself, and I'll enjoy having the thing more than I would that extra $5.
There you go. Next part of Earthworm Ben's question. I want to add a bit to my question. Do you believe that GOG is the model that all outlets should strive for, or do you believe that in all digital world, AAA games cannot exist without investors having a layer of security knowing that the product, in theory, be stolen? So we're talking about GOG and their policy to have no DRM in their games. No DRM works for everybody because DRM historically will slow your game down, have to ping the cloud every so often, make sure that you're connected to the internet before you play, all that bullshit that just barriers between us and our games and our fun, essentially. And for the amount that it stops piracy, people always pirate games, even if there's DRM. They de novo just lasts like a day or two maximum on most titles these days anyway, so it's probably not even worth the money that they pay de novo to put the DRM in. But yeah, it definitely, and it's not even conclusive that they make less money, because some people who pirate games might do that to try a game as like a demo before they decide whether to buy it or not. And with pirated games, you don't get updates, and this is why a lot of people, it's the narrative in the industry, we'll push the games as a service so we can update our games more often so that the pirates lose, right? The pirates all lose, and we don't lose out on all this money that's just slipping through our fingers. I think a lot of the decisions being made by the industry, it's all about trying to avoid getting piracy, or trying to avoid losing money, essentially trying to make as much money as possible. And it's, I don't know, it works well for GOG. It's always worked well as a policy for CD Projekt Red. I mean, just I don't know. Just then again, cynic as I am, thinking that it's people just justifying their actions. Yeah,
I hate video game piracy. I hate most forms of piracy, to be honest. And I get some people wanting to do it for some reasons, but ultimately, I still think it's bullshit. That being said, DRM just punishes everyone for the actions of the minority.
Oh, yeah. And
I don't think DRM will stop pirates for, as you say, like a day, and then someone will crack it, and everyone else's system is buggered, and it won't work. So I feel like you need to find another alternative to doing it. Oh, you're buzzing over there.
Yeah, just ignore that. It's fine.
Okay, well, our next question. Oh, thank you for your question, Mr. Earthworm Ben. Next question. We've got a few here from Vienticus Prime. How much do you think the whole World Health Organization gaming disorder is a sham for the medical industrial complex? I talked about the whole thing with my shrink, and her response leads me to believe that she thinks the idea of gaming disorder as a separate illness is fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's being addicted to games or just playing games too much is a symptom of something else that's wrong with your personality, not the fact that the game itself has, anyone who doesn't have a addictive personality, it's not going to be, to say that games are addictive like this, like this is an addiction, right? Supposes that anybody no matter what kind of personality they are, could play a game and get addicted to it.
Yeah.
That's wrong. In the same way that you can get addicted to nicotine or alcohol or harder drugs. Like, if you take hard drugs, you will become addicted to it physically. You can't physically become addicted to a game like that. It's a psychological thing, and if you're more predisposed to have an addictive personality who just wants something, maybe you're dealing with things in your life and you're getting away from like troubles in your life by just playing games too much. I mean, that's the type of person who's susceptible to become addicted to these types of things. And to say, and to classify it as a disorder, to say that it's addictive like this, I think it's doing an injustice. I think it
villainizes gamers and can be weaponized by like anti-gaming groups, because there's always the talk of video games causing violence, and now that narrative can be backed up by, this person suffers from gaming disorder. It's like, well, I think gaming disorder is nonsense. I think people who game too much is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Because there's all these stories of people who go to like internet cafes and streaming cafes where they take more care of their digital child in The Sims than they do their real child in the real world, and that's a massive fucking problem. But I don't think it's fair to just define that as gaming disorder. That's its whole other problem that's way bigger, and you can't just put it down to gaming specifically.
Yes, we have got loads of questions this week, so unfortunately we're going to have to skip Venticus's other questions, because there's like a couple of other really long ones there. But to be fair to everyone else and to keep this like concise, because we've done a huge E3, we're going to skip these other two questions. Sorry about that, Venticus. Ask them again next week if you want this.
Yes, I'm in next week.
So next up, Wire asks, having watched the podcast this morning, guys, you're going back to Fallout 6. What platform are you playing on? If I go back to it, I'm playing on PC. Obviously, first-person shooter. Come on, wake up, dude. Come on. You're not paying attention. Yeah, definitely. If I go back to it, if they announce some, human NPCs at E3, then I'll be back on it whenever that announces on the PC. So, we can hook up, have a couple of games maybe. Why, lad?
Next up from Loachgar, do you have any experience with point-and-click games? I was recommended The First Secret of Monkey Island by someone who played it on release, which was in the early 90s. He praised it as his favourite game series and described the experience as something I thought I would enjoy. When I played it recently, however, I had mixed feelings. And then it goes on a bit. I like the idea of point-and-click games, but I've never really played them outside of the Telltale ones. Like played first episode of Walking Dead, loved it. Mm-hmm. Started the second episode, probably got not first episode, sorry, the first season. Played the first season of The Walking Dead. Played the second season, probably got halfway through, wasn't into it as much. Really liked the Batman one because what they do with the Joker in that is really interesting. But yeah, I don't have loads of experience. I want to play the Monkey Island games, but I've never played them. Yeah,
the Monkey Island game is the very first point-and-click game I played. I had it on my Commodore Amiga, and it was like 13 discs. I think it was Monkey Island 2 or something, like 13 like floppy discs to play. It was so huge. Point-and-click, I get what you mean. If you've played it back in the day, you will appreciate, because technology was so limited and games weren't just awesome like they are these days, they don't look awesome. A game like Secret of Monkey Islands will keep you playing for ages, and it was just such an in-depth thing. It's very hard, and playing it back now, you could pick holes in it easily in the gameplay. It's like, this is like, if you don't know that you've got to go and get like a rubber duck from the voodoo woman so you can do a zip line onto the next part of the island, or if you don't know that you've got to like go and get a file off if you're in jail and you've got to get spoilers, by the way. You've got to open the cake because there's a file in there so you can file your way out. Or you got to poison the meat so you throw to the dogs so the dogs go to sleep so you can get in to see the princess. There's so many things that you've got to kind of investigate, and that's part of the gameplay for a point and click adventure like this is you've got to try everything. You've got to click, you've got to pull, you've got to push, you've got to like slap, you've got to try everything to try and get where you're going. And I get what you mean, like you've got to read through walkthroughs and stuff like that just to get the next play. But that's the point of a point and click. And if you're not okay with that, then point and clicks aren't for you. And I played the point and click recently, and I can't remember what it was called. It was the one with I bought it on my Switch and I can't even remember. And it's exactly that same type of gameplay where you walk up to something, you point, you click it, and it's like kind of open world kind of thing where you can just go in anywhere and do anything at any point. Point and click games on Switch. Let me just do a quick search and I will find it for you because it's worth mentioning what it was. It was Thimbleweed Park, and it was one from one of the actual guys who made, I think, Terrible Toy Box. Ron Gilbert, who was one of the guys who actually, I think, made the original Monkey Islands, right? Secret Monkey Islands. There you go. So it's a very niche thing these days, and it's hard to appreciate that type of gameplay unless you know unless you know what you're in for. If you think, oh, maybe I'll like a point and click game, you'll be frustrated because it's not for everybody, and you've got to think out goofy situations and try and get your head around them a lot of the time, and they're just not intuitive a lot of the time, and it's just like, I don't know, it's horses for courses, I would say. I get what you mean where you don't appreciate it because it seems dated, but I think that's just how the point and click genre is. Because it is a classic if you played it back in this time.
Well, there you go.
Next question from Jeff B44. Do you want to read out?
Yeah. Is there a game that you guys like that has below 50 on Metacritic? Now, I was just trying to look for any because I've obviously played multiple games, but only in the last few years have I started really caring about that sort of thing. Did you not like anything below 50?
Not that I can think of, honestly. No. If anything's rated a 5 out of 10 these days, then judging how people rate these games are so high anyway, it's automatically inflated anyway because people give 7s and they think that's bad, right? If your Metacritic is a 5, then you've dropped a stinker. You really have. I can't remember any games that are 50 or below on Metacritic. So the answer to that is no. That's a good indication of whether the game's good or not.
Well, the first one that pops into my head that is I always think of on games that were bad that no one liked but I liked is Binary Domain. I probably brought it out before. I really enjoyed Binary Domain. It's currently 68 on Metacritic, but 7.7 user. Exactly. That's fine. It's simple third-person shooting combat. The mobility was a bit weird. It felt kind of weird to run. The sprint animation was very high knees, high elbows. But the story was cool. It was very like Blade Runner. It was robots who think they're humans, and I really enjoyed it. But everyone else hated it. So I'd love to see a comeback for Binary Domain. That was cool.
Yeah. Next question. That isn't even a question. That one.
Oh, well, there you go. I've copied and pasted something which does not belong.
So let's skip that one. Next on to Lochgar. Would you accept a wager in favour or against the possibility of there being at least a mention of Fallout 76 VR at E3, yay or nay? We've covered that. Yep. Thanks, Lochgar, for that.
Absolutely.
I actually threw that in from your comment into there already. Absolutely. VR, like I said, I don't think... I would bet against it because it's online. Yeah. But then again, they've got Fallout 4 VR, they've got Skyrim VR, they've done it before. How it would affect the gameplay online, would it give you an advantage? I don't know.
Could it make it any worse?
it would probably make it better. Yeah. In some ways, it might bring people in. Don't charge me extra for it, Todd. Fucking hell. If he does that, then I'd be infuriated. At least, it's still trying to flesh out the actual game, and he wants to charge an extra bit of money for the VR version. No, fuck that. But thanks, Lochcar, for your question. And let's move on.
Next up is Tobias Cartwright, and you said this was from the Patreon page itself.
Yeah,
right?
This wasn't the Discord. This was posted on the Patreon page itself in a message. So,
hi guys, I can never think of questions to ask, but I finally got one. Good. I like it when we get new people questions, new people adding questions. There we go. Metal Shark always stealing the show. Fuck you. Just kidding.
Metal Shark always stealing the show.
No, we love your questions, Shark. There's always loads. Is there a game on your bucket list that doesn't have a lot of recognition, yet you think deserves another game? For me, it would be the Viva Pinata series. Loads of fun and super chill. Also, what are you looking forward to most at this year's E3?
I think we've gone through a lot of that E3 related stuff. What game did you like that was underrated that you would like a sequel to?
Binary Domain.
Binary Domain.
I love a Binary Domain.
You love a Binary Domain. What do I want a sequel to? The original OG Sid Meier's Pirates. I don't think it was underrated though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Lots of good games do get sequels.
I'd play a new State of Decay. I'd play if that was announced. I'd be happy. State of Decay 3.
What would I play?
Was announced by Undead Labs. Microsoft are going to be bringing these 14 games. If one of them was State of Decay 3, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Because that was underrated in my eyes. Or like Vampire 2.
Oh yeah,
underrated.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd play that.
Bring me it. Give it me now.
That'd be great.
Thank you very much. And next up is the aforementioned Metal Shark with his flurry of questions, which I specifically asked him for because he said, I'll give you a week off. And I said, well, who's going to be asking questions? We'll have half the questions we normally have. It just so happens we did get a lot of questions this week. But thanks anyway, Metal Shark.
You're waving the flag.
Super excited for Lisa and Sue's AMD Next Horizon. Oh my God. Did you even vet these?
Nope.
Super excited for Lisa Sue's AMD Next Horizon gaming event from the perspective of a hardware geek. As a channel devoted to more games, does any of that excitement come through, or is it fair to say that the news is meh until it's your hands on your screens? As an aside, if you want to see Martin Brundle put his foot in interviewing Lisa Sue, then look no further. I have no idea what half of them words mean, Metal Shark, and you've provided a nice handy little link here.
Well, yeah, so when it comes to me, from what I glanced over this question, I admit I didn't read it ahead of time like I perhaps should have. Hardware means very, very little to me.
Yeah. Well, you're a console scrub, aren't you?
Exactly, and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't care. Like, if I can feel it, like hold a controller and you say, oh, this has this particular thing in it compared to this which doesn't, and if I can tell the difference, then I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah,
I'm not that fussed for hardware, to be honest. I'm still playing on a 60 hertz monitor and I've got a decent PC, and people are going to be screaming at me like, oh, I call yourself a PC Master Race and you're still playing at 60 frames a second. I mean, it runs well enough for me. I mean,
it's all a numbers game to me at this point, and in my head, whatever the highest number is the best. But I don't really care.
Yeah, I perhaps since we ditched a couple of questions from was it Venticus Prime earlier, perhaps we should have just picked one from Metal Shark as well, because he's got a few others, and it wouldn't be fair on Venticus Prime now to go through many of the Metal Sharks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you can put one back in from Venticus if you can find it.
Let's do one more from Venticus, and while I'm doing that, you choose one from Metal Shark, right?
All right, let's find one to cull from your plethora of questions.
Okay, I'll throw in another question. Okay, this is Venticus Prime again. Have you ever looked into these board game counterparts to some video games? I know there is one for Total War, This War of Mine. Is there really? Board game for This War of Mine. Also, Bloodborne co-op game and expansion for Plague Inc. recently ended on Kickstarter. What are your opinions on them? I haven't. If I knew there was a This War of Mine board game, wow. I'm glad I read this question now. That is a gritty game. You'd enjoy that.
I've not played it.
Oh, This War of Mine, man. You will like that game.
Yeah?
You will like that game. It's gritty. It's dark. And you've got to do questionable things to try and stay alive. It's good. This War of Mine tabletop.
I always want to get into board games, like, because there's so many really popular cool ones. Like, I've never played something like Dungeons and Dragons, and I really want to, like a classic tabletop RPG, but I never have because I haven't got the team, because you can't play them on your own, obviously. I mean, you need like 4 or 5 people, really. But I know I think it's being kickstarted at the moment. I might have just finished, but there's a Devil May Cry one, which I'm like, yeah, Devil May Cry, awesome. I don't know how it'll work, because I mean, it's a combo-based game, so I don't know how that translates to a board game, but hey, cool.
Yeah, but it's not really on my radar. My girls are too young to play, and at home, my missus probably wouldn't be interested in a game-themed board game. But we do like to play board games as a family, so maybe maybe I should pick one up that's not quite this war of mine, because that would be too brutal. It's about trying to stay alive in a war-torn country, war-torn city, where like everything's getting, like, there's people scavenging for food in the shadow of this war, and you've got to do questionable things to get food, to keep your family alive, to keep people alive.
Excellent sound. Yeah. That sounds
it's
great.
A good game. It's a 2D side scroller, and it's like there's two parts of the game. There's the day part where you've got to build up your home base and like feed yourself and stay alive and heal yourself and sleep and all that. And then there's the night gameplay where you go out adventuring different areas, trying to scavenge for things to come back and build up your home with. And that's where you get these face to face with like bad guys and like maybe you trade or something, and there's like dangerous scenarios you can get yourself into, and it's really cool, and you can end up like killing like nice old women just to take their food and shit.
I mean, if she's got an apple, she's going down.
Yeah. Anyway,
that sounds
this
cool.
War of Mine, for anybody, that's a huge recommendation for me. Always has been. Thanks for the question, Venticus Prime. We got there in the end. And next from Metal Shark.
So I've picked one here. There was a couple that were a bit interesting, but I liked this one. What, in your opinion, should Bungie be doing announcement-wise? Should they return to their former selves, carry on as is with some improvements, or go in a new direction? Now that's
good question,
because obviously they are now separate from Activision and will be running Destiny, self-publishing it.
Yeah.
I think they have a good thing going with Destiny in terms of it's got a lot of fans.
Popularity.
It's very popular. People really like it. It's a good way to make money.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can support it in perhaps the way they need to on their own.
Yeah.
But if they can pivot and keep the popular multiplayer aspect, but do a really good single-player thing, that'll get me in. Absolutely. I played Destiny 2 and I did enjoy it, but I was like, I want more story, because there's so much lore there, but they just kind of, this thing's got a strange name, go and read pages and pages and pages about it. But I want to give it to me, give me the information, give me characters, give me people to love, give me
more
people to hate.
engaging story.
Yeah. So that's what I would say they should do, is a proper story driven 15-hour campaign edition. It doesn't have to be that long. And then keep your multiplayer and what do they call it, the Crucible and all that. Keep all that.
Should they keep on as is with improvements? It all depends. I mean, Destiny, they're still probably making a decent wad of money off the Destiny and people playing Destiny. And I think that in terms of recurring revenue for them, it's got to be a must. If they want to run the risk of stop supporting that game and then moving on to something else, I mean, creatively it might be what's best for them, but financial security is a big thing these days, and I think that it would be stupid of them to just ditch that whole thing. Whether they do things in tandem, Destiny 2 plus the next new project, is probably a good idea too. They're probably already putting some concepts together for a new IP or a new game, or maybe even Destiny 3. I mean, they still retain the IP, might not, but it won't be the big blockbuster as it was with Activision. And they might be freer to make a better game as a result. Yeah. You never know. But the important thing is that they are free and they're able to do what they want now, and hopefully they can maintain enough revenue now. They're independent in order to keep supporting the games in the future and keep operating, because so many companies do go down at the moment.
I'd love to see him go kind of grassroots and do something very reminiscent of Halo 1. Just give me that feel of being in a strange place with like a conspiracy of stuff going on and bad shit's going on, and I've got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Of like the Halo rings, it was like, whoa, what is this? How don't we know about this? We're massive, interstellar Earth. I can't remember the USSS. I can't fucking remember. But yeah, give me that.
Give me that.
Give me that.
So those are our thoughts. Thanks, Metal Shock, for your questions. Moving on to Two Shot Tino, which is the last question of today, and it's where we're going to wrap up. No YouTube questions today because we've already overshot the mark. Deleted my original questions. I forgot you requested them to be E3 related. Yeah, we did request them to be E3 related. Thanks for reminding us and everybody else whose questions that we've read out and who weren't E3 related. Not that I'm telling you off, but we've read them out anyway. thanks everybody for bringing
and any
some
we
questions.
didn't read out, whack them in next week, and we will get to them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that weren't E3 related. It's been E3 heavy as it was now anyway. But anyway, back to the E3 related question. What was the first E3 showing time slot that you looked forward to and made sure you watched live, if any, or at least watched as soon as you awoke? Mine was only last year, and I had to watch Sony's presentation as their exclusive games have consistently knocked it out the park over the past few years. I stayed up to watch that one live. That was a bit disappointing for me. I mean, it was like early hours in the morning, and it was like, and there's a guy on stage playing the guitar. I'm a guitar dude, and like, is a guy playing the guitar for, and then there's like, what was the other music thing? And it was like, just get to the game. It only featured 4 games. I don't know. I felt it was all underwhelming compared to the Microsoft one. Last year was the Sony one, but that's just me. It's just my personal taste. In terms of what you look forward to and make sure you watch live, I mean, it's only a few years since I've been getting into it, since I've been doing pretty good gaming. So I look forward to them all, pretty much. Microsoft this year, I'm the most looking forward to probably forever since I've ever started watching E3. This Microsoft one is got top of my list.
I've never really bothered watching them live because everything comes out afterwards anyway. I could just search out the few games I do want to know, or I can like watch through a quick roundup saying this was here, this was here, this was here. I was like, good, bad, good. Okay, watch those. Yeah. But I'll probably watch the ones I can this year. You know, the ones that aren't at 1 in the bloody morning.
Well, Microsoft's is a must. Pretty
it's a
much.
sensible time.
And then Ubisoft is again a sensible time, and then Nintendo Direct the next day again. So
although
3 evenings in a row.
This all does depend on how well my internet connection cooperates, because at my girlfriend's place it sucks, and we need to get it sorted out pronto.
Yeah. PC Gaming Show as well, I think. So I'm going to be looking definitely Microsoft, PC Gaming Show, and Ubisoft, and Nintendo Direct. So they're the 4 ones I'm going to be watching this year. Let us know what you've got in your schedule. Since we've been through them all, you know exactly what time they're going to be on in your time. So long as you live on the East Coast, West Coast, or in the UK, you'll know exactly when your show. So let us know what you're looking forward to, or if it's already started, what you were excited for seeing. Next week we'll probably run down. I don't know what we're going to do next week, because content next week is probably going to be E3 focused. So the podcast, again, if it's another E3 focused thing, I don't know how we'll do it, but
well, it depends if there's anything worth talking about. It could be crap.
It could all be crap.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's not likely to happen because it's E3, because it's all very exciting.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger Things game.
That'd be cool. Well, they were doing a Netflix one, weren't they? Anyway, we need to wrap up.
Yeah, we need to wrap it. It's way past our bedtime. By that I mean it's past lunch, and we're all both very, very hungry and thirsty, and we need a rest. So thanks for listening and watching this podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it. As always, if you want to support the content, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You can get access to this podcast next week or for the rest of the month or whatever. $1 a month, 2 days early, as well as access to the Patreon Discord. See, it's past your bedtime.
Yeah, I'm knackered, mate.
Yawning and everything. So yeah, if you do like the channel, hit subscribe. If you like the content, hit the like button. What else is there? YouTubey things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. The bell's the best one because you get notified. And then we will see you again in the next video. So thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great E3, and we will see you again next time we see you, or you see us. See you later.
Bye.